Terraform has a great feature called Terraform Plan, which allows you to create a dry run of what you want to get Terraform to provision for you in terms of resources. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the Terraform Plan command and see the different features it offers. Let's get started. All right, so we got our repo here, and once again, we're going to use code spaces in GitHub, which is a great feature. And we're going to create a new code space, so you can click the Create Code Space on Main button, and that will spin up a machine for us in GitHub's cloud that has all the necessary libraries and packages installed for us. So we're going to have Terraform installed with the Terraform server, with a specific version of Terraform that we know works for our particular demo, and everything will get set for us, and you can reproduce everything we're talking about in this video on your own, once again, if you run code spaces with this particular repo. So we'll give it a couple of seconds and we'll get started. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll get started once the container running code space is up and running. Alright, so everything is ready and set up for us. Let's get started. I have my code spaces repo here running, and I've got Visual Studio Code, as you can see, running in the browser. And we're going to go through these demo steps. So first thing we want to do is to create a new resource, and we're going to use a simple example, which you'll see here in this main.tf file. And it's using the source here for this provider for Docker, and all it's doing, it's really creating a Docker image, and it's creating a Docker container based on this image. And this is just an Nginx container, very simple. And for the variables that we're defining here, we've got a number of variables. The variables.tf file is where we're defining all these variables: image name, image tag, internal port, and external port. Notice internal port and external port are using the defaults here from the variables.tf file, whereas the image name and image tag don't have any defaults. So if we go to terraform.tf vars file, here's where we're going to see the assignments for all the variables right here. Okay, so that's our setup basically. Actually, I want to make sure that this is port 8080, and that's our setup. So let's go ahead and initialize this repo by running Terraform init, and that's going to initialize Terraform for us. It'll pull the provider that we requested, get everything set, and now we're going to run Terraform Plan. And as I mentioned before, Terraform Plan is a way for Terraform to show you kind of in a dry run fashion what it's about to create. So as we can see here, it has this green plus symbol to create, and everything with a green plus means that these are resources that are getting created. The first one is the Nginx container with all the different attributes, and the second resource to be created is the Docker image. So a summary here at the bottom: 2 resources to plan, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Perfect. So let's go ahead and apply this. So you run Terraform apply, and what Terraform apply is going to do, it's actually going to run a plan again, just to make sure that you are ready to apply these changes. And it will give you a prompt at the bottom saying here, enter a value to approve this plan so we can apply it. So only yes is acceptable. We hit yes, and that will go ahead and create our container image, also the container itself. So looks like everything has completed successfully, and CodeSpaces has exposed our port already, so I can open this in a browser, and this should give us the welcome screen for Nginx, and there we go. Perfect. So our container is running, and if you don't believe me, we can run docker ps, which will show us our container right here on port 8080. It's running. Its name is web server. We can also look at the images. Docker image should show us our Docker images. should show us our Nginx image with the tag 1.23.1, as you can see. Excellent. So that basically shows us how we can use Terraform Plan to plan ahead and figure out what's going to happen. So that enabled us to create a new resource. Now let's see if we can modify this resource. So in this case, we are going to change the restart on failure or the restart always into restart on failure in the main.tf file here. So here we were saying that we want this container to always restart. In this case, we only will have it restart on failure. Okay, so we've defined that. Now what we'll do is we'll run Terraform Plan again to see the changes that Terraform has detected. In this case, you can see that there is an update in place change, and you can see that it wants to change the restart from always to on failure. And the summary shows us there's only one thing that will happen. It's one change right here. Now, if you want to make a change that will actually will require us to destroy the container and recreate it, in this case, let's change the external port number. And let's go to Terraform tfvars file, change this from 8080 to 8081, and we'll go ahead and run Terraform Plan again. And in this case, you can see the summary: one add, one destroy, and that the ports external 8080 to 8081 forces a replacement. So what that's telling us is that this Docker container Nginx container is going to be replaced, meaning that Terraform is gonna have to destroy the container and recreate it because we've changed the port. Now this is where it becomes very important to run Terraform Plan to figure out what Terraform is about to do before you actually take action. Okay, so let's go ahead and maybe run this plan. We can if we want. We don't have to, but we can run Terraform apply. And if you run Terraform apply once again, it will ask you to verify that you want to actually make this change. So we say yes, and that will go ahead and make the changes for us. Okay, now you see that the application or the container is running on port 8081, as you can see here, and the container is working well. Excellent. Now let's take a look at another option here in Terraform Plan, and this is to delete an existing resource and see what the plan is going to show us. So let's comment out the Docker container resource in main.tf and see what happens. So if we comment this out, okay, this is actually telling Terraform that we want to delete this resource, because Terraform is a declarative language, and we're telling Terraform that, well, this doesn't exist anymore, so it's gonna go ahead and delete it. So let's run a Terraform Plan to see what's gonna happen first. And you see here at the bottom that there is one resource that's gonna be destroyed. We scroll up a little bit, we see that our container is planned to be destroyed. So if we go ahead and apply that, that will get destroyed. So let's do that. Terraform apply and say yes, and that destroyed our resource. So if we try to run Docker ps, we see that there's no more container running at this point. Now if you run Docker, or if you run Docker images, you will see that our Nginx image is still there, and that's because in here we didn't remove this particular image. So let's go ahead and bring back our container, and let's run Terraform apply. I'm going to do Terraform apply right away since it's going to create a plan for me, and it shows me that it's going to create a container. Say yes, it will go ahead and create the container for me, and once again it's running on port 8081, so that's great. The next piece here, I want to talk about the refresh only mode. So by default, Terraform Plan runs the default normal mode, which allows you to see what's going to change. But with Terraform refresh only, that allows you to just refresh the Terraform state without actually making changes in the real world. And we'll see this in action just now. So let's clear here. And what we'll do is I want to show you that Docker container is running, and the Docker images, we've got the Nginx image. What we'll do is we're going to actually remove the Nginx image 1.23.1 here. So let's remove that. And yeah, it doesn't like it that we have the container is that there is a container running that's referencing that. So what we can do is we can comment this out, run Terraform apply, and hit yes. I could have actually deleted it from with Docker PS, but always try to minimize doing things outside of Terraform itself. So let's clear that and run Terraform remove this Nginx container or image, and that removed successfully. And what we can do now is run Terraform Plan and refresh only to show you what that will look like. So notice here, objects have changed outside of Terraform. Terraform detected the following changes made outside of it since the last Terraform apply, and that is deleting the image, which is true. That's exactly what we did. We deleted the image using the Docker command outside of Terraform, which again, we shouldn't be doing that, but sometimes these things happen. So how do we update our state file to remove the image from our state file? And here's our state file. And if you're not familiar with the state file, Terraform is a stateful application that stores everything it knows about the real world inside the state file. So we see here that in our state file we have this Docker image, we see the image ID, we see the image name, and so on. So these are all attributes of this particular image. So it knows that this image exists with these IDs and so on. And reality is it doesn't exist. So if I run Docker images, you'll see that there are no images, but Terraform still thinks that there is a real image out there. So what do? We can use the Terraform refresh only mode to refresh this state file to reflect what's happening in the real world. So if we ran Terraform Plan refresh only, this is showing us that this image is going to get deleted from the state file. And if you notice here, so Terraform will not take any actions to undo this. If you were expecting these changes, then you can apply this plan to record the updates in the Terraform state without changing any remote objects. So this is not going to change any remote objects. It's going to just change the state file. So if we want this to actually take place, we need to run Terraform apply refresh only. And actually, before I run this, I want to show you what Terraform Plan by itself without the refresh only flag does. And this will show you that, oh, this is actually going to create the image, which makes sense because if you go to our file here, the desired state is to create an image, and but the image doesn't exist in the real world. So how did it know that this happened? Well, Terraform Plan actually runs a refresh, and also Terraform apply runs a refresh as well. So if we go to the state file, although it's not, the state file shows that it exists, it ran a refresh ahead of time before it ran. So to update the state file, let's run the Terraform apply refresh only. And what that's going to do is going to prompt you, and you say yes. Notice the state file now has the image deleted directly from the state file. So remember, plan only gives you a dry run. Apply is what actually takes effect. If we had run Terraform apply without the refresh only, it would have gone and created it would have done the refresh, which is what we just did. It would have deleted the Docker image from the state file, and then it would have gone and created it. Remember, because we are declaring our need for that image, so it was going to refresh the state, remove the previous image, and then recreate it, and then update the state with the new image after it's done. So refresh only doesn't do anything in the real world, it only updates your state file. So hopefully this is clear. And now let's move on to take a look at the output flag, which is a very important flag when you're running Terraform in a CI/CD pipeline and you have peer reviewers. You want to make sure that whatever plan you're reviewing is the plan that's going to get applied. So let's go ahead and run Terraform Plan and out TF plan. And it shows you that, okay, we are going to plan 1, change 0, destroy 0, right? So we are going to create the image. So let's, and the image actually got stored in this file TF plan, as you can see, the -out TF plan. So next, to apply it, you run Terraform apply and specify the name of the file, the plan file. And if you notice, the plan file here is a binary, so you can't really open it, you can't see anything. So it's just a binary file. And this has been successful. And if we go check our state file again, we should see the new resource here, the image. Once again, run Docker images, you'll see the Nginx image there as well. So that is the output flag, which again is very important when you're running in pipelines and you have a peer review session as well, so you know for sure that you are going to deploy the particular plan that you ran and not a plan that's going to run at that point in time. So you're referring to the exact plan that's going to get applied that got reviewed. Okay, let's take a look at the replace flag. So we can replace a particular resource. First of all, let's go ahead and create this resource. So we're going to remove this and run Terraform apply. This will create our container for us. And yes. Let's clear that. You can see that our application is running again. So let's run Terraform Plan and replace a Docker container Nginx container. Now what does this do? This is actually targeting a particular container and a particular resource and telling Terraform to replace that particular resource. You may have heard of the Terraform taint command. That command is not recommended to be used, it's deprecated, so you want to use Terraform Plan -replace. The reason for it is that Terraform taint would automatically taint that resource, and if you run Terraform apply, it will remove it automatically. So a better process is to run Terraform Plan with the replace flag and then Terraform apply with the replace flag. So as you can see here, we're changing or we're replacing the container, okay? And to go ahead and replace it, we need to run the Terraform apply command. So we can go ahead and run Terraform apply with the replace flag and say yes. And notice that we're using the resource notation here. So if you run Terraform state list, you can see the list of resources, and that's what you use to call on a particular resource to replace. In this case, it was our container, our docker underscore container dot nginx underscore container. Okay, so that's the replace flag. You can be very surgical in terms of what you want to replace, and that happens when you get an error in a particular resource. You might want to do that, or you made a change and you want to force a replace for one of those resources. The next flags are the var and var file flags, which are flags that are used usually with a CI/CD pipeline if you want to reference a particular variable or provide a variable on the CLI or reference a particular variable file. So let's comment out all the variables in the Terraform tf-vars file like this, and then let's run Terraform Plan to show you that if you do that, then you're actually going to, the Terraform is actually going to prompt you for the variables it doesn't know anything about because they're not specified in the defaults of the variables.tf file. So let's cancel that, and we will now provide those variables on the command line using the -var flag, and then you give the name of the variable equals the value of the variable, and you can add multiple variables as you can see here. And we're running the Terraform Plan command to kind of get a dry run of what things will look like. In this case, you see it says forces a replacement because we provided port 8080. So if we go ahead and run this again, but in this case, let's provide let's make sure that our variables file actually has 8081. Otherwise, it will want to delete our because we had port 8081 here in the terraform.tf vars file, and that takes precedence over the variables.tf file. So let's run the plan file again, and this should give us a again, it wants to force replacement because we're changing the tag. So let's make sure the tag is the same. I want to make sure that we're not going to make any changes. And when you do that, then there are no changes in this case because we provided the exact same variables as what's already running right now. Okay, so that shows us that we can actually run the plan with variables on the same CLI line. We can use the Terraform plan with a var file like this one here. But first, let's take a look at a variable file that is in a separate folder than our typical Terraform folder. So as you know, Terraform, when it runs with all the files, or looks at all the files that are in the particular folder you're running Terraform from. In this case, just for demo purposes, I created this a random directory folder, and in it I have this my variables file.txt. So notice the extension is not a .tf or .tf vars extension. So it's just a file, a text file, and I have the variables defined in this text file. Let's change this back to .1 so we don't have issues. And then let's go ahead and run the command terraform plan and give it the -var file tag or flag with the path for the file that we need to use. And again, it's a file that's in a different directory than the one that Terraform is running in. When you run that, you see that everything runs well and you have no changes because we're not making any changes. So that covers the two flags, var and var file flags, and when you can use them. Let's take a look at the destroy flag. And the destroy flag, first let's just clean up everything. So let's go back and uncomment this, and let's run Terraform plan destroy. And this flag just shows you that we're going to destroy our resources. In this case, 2 are going to be destroyed, the Nginx image and also the Nginx container. So that's expected. It's the same as running the Terraform destroy command. It runs the same value, except that the Terraform destroy command is actually equivalent to the Terraform apply -destroy. So that will go ahead and destroy if you say yes. So this is a better approach because it forces you to use the plan, and you can see a pattern now where Terraform plan for replacing, Terraform plan for destroying, always run a Terraform plan, and also very useful when you're running a CI/CD pipeline. You run this first, and then you can run Terraform apply. So Terraform apply -destroy, that will run the plan once again, and if you're ready to destroy, you can run, or you can type yes. That will effectively destroy our container and our image as well. You can see they're all gone. So the destroy flag is a very serious flag. It's always important to use with caution. It has to be part of your peer review whenever you're running something like that. It has to go through a pipeline and you get a peer review going. Okay, so resource targeting is our next section here, and let's run Terraform apply to get everything ready to go, and we can start to see what resource targeting means. Okay, so it's generating everything for us. Everything looks good. Now we want to target the a particular resource here. So instead of here we talked about replacing a resource, but here if we want to make a change to a particular resource, we can target that resource. And that's not your typical workflow, but sometimes you need to do something like that. So here, let's change the image tag from one. Let's see what we have. I think we have to change it the other way around. And that is defined here. So let's change it from .1 to .3. And now that we've changed it, let's run Terraform Plan. And we're going to notice something here, that because we've changed the image tag, it's actually forcing us to replace both the container and the image as well, because the container is dependent on the image. That's why we're going to replace two items. But really, if we want to target only the image, we can run Terraform Plan with the target flag like this. So Terraform Plan -target and the Docker image.nginx image. Okay, so as you can see, in this case now we're only going to make one change, and that's to the image. And it gives you a warning here. Resource targeting is in effect. You're creating a plan with a target option, which means that the result of this plan may not represent all the changes requested by the current configuration. So you always need to be careful when you're using target. Just know that that option is available in case you do need it. And you'll notice that one thing here, when we run the Terraform apply in this case, we're going to get an error. So let's run it and we'll see the error. Let's say yes. Error, unable to remove the Docker image. Error response from daemon conflict, unable to remove repository. Because of our container that's running, it's dependent on that particular image. So it's refusing to do that. But I just wanted to show you how you may want to use the targeting flag to be able to target a particular resource if you need to make changes to it. And that basically covers quite a bit when it comes to the Terraform Plan option. It's a very important feature in Terraform and very helpful when you have a team of developers that are working, or DevOps engineers that are working on Terraform, to be able to make sure that you have a peer review process, that you're running this plan ahead of time before you're actually applying it. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and go ahead and apply things without reviewing the plan and knowing exactly what Terraform is about to do. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you in another one.